Hello everyone, welcome to Banking Prep 101. Today we'll learn about percentages. Most students think that percentage is a basic topic, but in bank exam, percentage decides the speed in approximation, data interpretation, and even arithmetic. So today we won't memorize values, but we'll train our brain to recognize them instantly like toppers do. First, look at these fractions on the screen. Instead of learning them one by one, focus on patterns. First, the must known instant values that are 1 by 2 is 50%, 1 by 4 is 25%. Now you must be noticing that uh, I have doubled the denominator here, 1 by 2, and I've kept 1 by 4 here. The denominator is doubled. So the fraction in the same way is halved. So here was 50%, now here is 25%. In the same way, 1 by 5 is 20%, then 1 by 10 is 10%, because again the denominator is doubled. And again, if we double the denominator, 1 by 20, the percentage becomes half. So 10% becomes 5%. Now let's focus on 1 by 9 fraction. 1 by 9 is 11.11%. Now this forms a unique pattern. Like if you have 2 by 9, it's 22.22. You have 3 by 9 is 33.33. And 3 by 9 is what? 1 by 3. So 1 by 3 is 33.33%. So in this way, again, you formed a pattern. Now let's look at 1 by 8 fraction. 1 by 8 is 12.5%. Similarly, again, we double the denominator. 1 by 16 is 6.25%. So in this way, if we form patterns, we can learn all of these percent to fraction conversions. Now let's test your speed. Pause the video and answer quickly. What is 1 by 8, 1 by 16, 1 by 5, 1 by 20? These are the answers. 1 by 8 is 12.5%, 1 by 16 is 6.25%, 1 by 5 is 20%, and 1 by 20 is 5%. If you answered them instantly, that's the speed that is required in the bank exams. Remember, don't memorize these values. You train your mind to see patterns. Mastering the percentage benchmark can save you several minutes in the actual exam, and those minutes can decide your final selection. So practice until these numbers feel automatic, because speed plus accuracy is the real winning formula in bank exam. Now let us learn about some concepts. If there is an increase in any quantity, say x is equals to 18 by 16.66%, then we know that 16.66% is 1 by 6 in fraction. So from this we can find out the new value of x, that is equal to 18 into 7 by 6. See what I've done here. The denominator is 6, the numerator is 1. I've added the denominator to the numerator because there is an increase in the quantity. So x becomes 18 into 7 by 6. And if you solve this, it would amount to 21. So here I've written also the denominator is 6, the numerator is 1. So the new numerator becomes 6 plus 1 is equal to 7 because of increase, and the new value of x can be found out. Similarly, if there is a decrease in a quantity, say x is equals to 18 by 16.66%, then again the same thing. 16.66% is 1 by 6. So new value of x becomes 18 into 5 by 6. 5 by 6 because there is a decrease. So the denominator is 6, numerator is 1. We subtract 1 from 6. So it becomes 5. So the new numerator becomes 5, and the new value of x becomes 18 into 5 by 6, that is 15. Here I've again written the logic. Denominator is 6, numerator is 1. New numerator is 6 minus 1, that is equals to 5 because there is a decrease, and the new value of x can be found out. Concept that we've learned above has some applications in arithmetic. So let's consider first profit and loss. The cost price of an article is 343 and it is marked up by 14.28%. Find its mark price. So we know that 14.28% is 1 by 7. So we can find the mark price. Mark price would be 343 into it is marked up by 14.28%. That means there is an increase. So 7 would be added to 1 and the numerator would become 8. So mark price would be 343 into 8 by 7, and we can solve it and it comes out to be 392. In the same way, we can apply it to ratios. If we say that the speed of A is 6.25% more than speed of B, we know that 6.25% is 1 by 16. So if we say speed of A divided by speed of B would be 16 and speed of A would be 17. Again, 1 by 16, we add the denominator to the numerator. So 16 plus 1 is 17. So speed of A becomes 17 and speed of B is 16. 17 by 16 is actually a ratio. So, and in the same way in compound interest and simple interest, if an article of value 38416 depreciates by 7.14% in the first year and 14.28% in the second year, then find its new value. We can find the new value. New value would be equal to 38416 into it depreciates by 7.14% in the first year, and 7.14% is 1 by 14, and there's a decrease, so the numerator is subtracted. It becomes 13 by 14, and in the second year there is an again a decrease, and we know 14.28 is 1 by 7. Again we subtract the numerator from the denominator, it becomes 6 by 7. So in this way the new value would be 30576. We've just multiplied it. See, first depreciates by 7.14%, made the fraction for it and kept it here, and then it depreciates by 14.28%, again made the fraction and multiplied it here, and we can solve this all and find out the final value. So these are the applications, these are some applications, and you'll find that this concept applies to almost everywhere in the quant section of the bank exam. Now we'll look at a question that comes in the bank exam many times. There are two candidates, A and B, that stand in an election in which 20% of the votes are invalid. A gets 50% of the total votes, and the difference between the votes of the winning and the losing candidate is 5,000. Find the total valid votes. This can be solved by the following method. Consider the total votes as 100%. 20% were invalid. So out of 100%, 20% would be invalid and 80% would be the valid votes. Now A gets 50% of the total votes. So total votes are 100%. If we take the 50% of it, A would be get 50%. And out of this 80%, A has gotten 50%. So B would get 30%. Now it says difference between the votes of the winning and the losing candidate is 5,000. That means 50% minus 30%, that is equals to 20%, and this 20% corresponds to 5,000. Find the total valid votes. The valid votes are 80%. So 20% corresponds to 5,000. 80% would correspond to 5,000 divided by 20 into 80. That is equals to 20,000. In this way, the valid votes comes out to be 20,000. Another very famous question asked in the banking exam is something like this. Ram scored 20% in a test but failed by 60 marks. Sham scored 50% and secured 30 marks more than the passing marks. Find the passing marks of the test. So this question can be solved by the following way. For Ram, the passing marks would be 20% plus 60, because Ram scored 20% in a test but failed by 60 marks. So if we add 60 in this 20% of the total, then we would find out Ram's passing marks. In the same way, Sham scored 50% and secured 30 marks more than the passing marks. That means from this 50%, if we subtract 30, we would get Sham's passing marks. And the passing marks in the exam would be same, be it for Ram or Sham. So we equate them both. 20% plus 60 is equals to 50% minus 30. Solve it, bring the percentages on the same side and the numbers on the same side. 50% minus 20% is 30%. 60 plus 30 is 90. So 30% corresponds to 90. And from this we can find out the total marks of the test. 30% of the total is 90. So 100% is 300. And we have to find out the passing marks of the test. We can take either Ram or Sham to find out the passing marks. I am taking Ram. So total marks of the test is 300, and 20% of 300 is 60, and add a 60 again in it, and we would find out the passing marks is 120. So in this way we can solve the question in a fast way for the bank exam. And I have given a PDF also to practice. Go and practice questions from them, and you can practice from there also. So this was my take, and like, comment, and subscribe. The Telegram ID for the PDFs is Banking Prep 101. Thank you.